What's the secret to making the perfect brisket? Well, there's a lot going on with brisket. Most of you guys, if you're still listening, you've cooked barbecue before, but brisket's actually two muscles. So one muscle is leaner and cooks a little faster, and one muscle's more fatty and it takes a little more to render out. So the flat part of the brisket and the point of the brisket, those are the two muscles. The more you trim it down to keep it as evenly as possible. My opinion on brisket is always changing, and I'm still learning as I go too. But like, if you trim it down and trim some of that point off and really kind of trim like the thinnest part of the flats off and kind of get it as even as possible, you're heading in the right direction there. Because if that point is just all sticking up so high and the flat's super thin, you're going to have some meat that's tough and some meat that's overcooked and dry. So if you can even it out a little bit more, you're going to have better luck starting off. Then it's your smoker, your fire management. The best case scenario for brisket is you're cooking at an even temperature long enough to get that thing tender without drying it out. So a moist cooking environment, I'd say if you're cooking on a pellet cooker, put a little water pan in there, get some moisture going. You're going to have consistent temperature as long as you don't run out of pellets. If you're cooking on a pellet cooker, keep that temperature consistent, keep that cooking environment a little bit moist, some humidity in there, and you should be good to go. Do you wrap or do you don't wrap? I found best results when I wrap. I like butcher paper. Foil works fine. If you don't have butcher paper, you can use foil. The only real difference is you get a little bit of breathing, if you will, from the butcher paper, so it kind of keeps your bark intact a little bit better. But if you're looking for that super moist anyways, then foil does just fine. All the barbecue influencers, all you see online right now is butcher paper, so I'm following that trend, but I think you get some hate if you throw the foil on there, but for the most part, you're going to get just fine results if you don't have butcher paper and you want to use foil. So typical is cooking that brisket till you hit that stall stage. Like, this is why they say take it to 175 and then wrap. Well, what wrapping does is kind of like insulates, keeps that heat all in there and kind of like pushes you out of that stall stage. So you're less at risk for drying out your brisket. Now, in the restaurant, the catering business, we don't wrap halfway through. We're not there. When it hits the stall is like 2 a.m, nobody's at the shop. It just cooks through. We wrap when it comes out. And I have to imagine a lot of barbecue places cook like that. Some of the more traditional Texas places, their guys get there at 2 a.m. to start their brisket, and they're like working kind of like a day out. So they do wrap when it hits that stall, put it back in the smoker, cook it to, I would imagine, 200, not over 200, because the way they do it is they'll take it out and they hold it for like 12 hours so it's ready for service the next day. But traditional for you at home, start with a high quality brisket. Get a choice or better, choice or prime. If you want to spend the money and get a Wagyu, then get the Wagyu. Trim it so it's as even as possible. Even cooking temperature. Wrap at 175. Cook to 200 or to 205. And then let it rest for 2 hours. This is going to give you the best set. And the seasoning, you can start with salt and pepper if you want to be super traditional. We have a nice Texas rub. There's so many different rubs out there that are great, but you have to find what you like. You're going to get more flavor on the rub and the seasoning and the sauce that you put on after it's cooked than the actual pre-rub. At the end of the day, you can't really taste that. You need to get some salt and pepper on there because that's your base flavor, at least salt and pepper when you're first starting out. But then when you come back through after it's sliced, a little salt or rub on it, that's what you're really going to taste besides the nice smokiness, juiciness of the meat. That's my simple breakdown for brisket. And you know what? The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And just like anything in life, is if you really want to get good at it, you have to do it a lot.